What's up internet, Kevin here with TLD bringing you our review of Far Cry 3. Now as always, the holidays always bring us a number of big name title releases, and Far Cry signals the end of this rush by being the last big release of this year. And this actually is one of those cases where they were in fact saving best for last. Now the Far Cry games don't have a lot in common outside of the fact that they are FPS games that take place in a wilderness setting. However, this one has done by far the most successful job of integrating the two, mainly due to its massive success in implementing a free roam system. Now the main draw of this title is its single player story campaign, which does an excellent job of getting players immediately hooked right at the start. Players are first shown happy images of a vacation trip, only to be immediately thrown into the current desperation of our protagonist being captured by pirates alongside his friends. This opening alone is one of the best things Far Cry 3 has accomplished as a shooter, and something we almost never see in an FPS campaign. Actual character development. Right from the start, players are put in the shoes of a man who has no idea what he's doing or how to handle combat situations. And while he may be a much faster learner than the average human, the game takes the time to show his level of uncomfortability as he learns what he needs to do in order to survive the jungle and to try and save his friends. Couple this character development with a great antagonist, supporting characters, and dialogue that brings together one of the better plots seen in modern day FPSs to date. Now, while the game's storyline does consist of a very linear number of missions that must be completed in order, there is a gigantic island for players to freely explore, and this is where Far Cry 3 really succeeds. While there are a number of semi-repetitive side quests you can do, like hunting animals and bounties, what Far Cry 3 really accomplishes in free roam is giving players simply the reason to roam, like delving old ruins or finding wreckage underwater filled with treasures and experience rewards, alongside hunting down local wildlife in order to craft better gear for upping how much ammo, munitions, loot, money, and weapons you can carry. Money for the most part is a little too easy to get, and as a result players will almost never find themselves in a situation where they can't afford to restock an ammunition, or save up quickly for that shiny new gun they want. Add on to this the fact that you can unlock free guns by completing radio tower side quests, and you find yourself with more money than you'll ever really need, though the game does try to balance this out by also offering maps for sale that reveal hidden goodies and relics for you to hunt down. More importantly, players can gain experience from their travels in order to develop 3 different skill trees, which are amusingly represented in the form of an arm tattoo that gets more intricate as you invest in skills. Some of these are fairly basic, like more health, reduced recoil, running longer, swimming faster, etc. But one common theme that can get really interesting is in the sheer number of takedown options players can unlock, varying from simply going from one target to the next, pulling a grenade pin and shoving them into a group of other enemies, or even pulling the enemy's knife and throwing it silently to dispatch a farther away target. Combine these options for ambushing opponents with the ability to survey beforehand and mark targets, and you get a surprisingly good stealth experience with enemies that are quick to catch on if they notice something happened to a friend. Now that being said, there are a few weird things that happen with the AI on occasion, like the fact that knee-high grass is enough to hide you from view, or enemies that seem to psychically know that you're not one of them while you're disguised. While the free roam and storytelling is very excellent in the game, the FPS mechanics themselves are fairly mediocre, especially when you put into account that the bow absolutely outclasses any gun you get in the campaign, and Molotovs are just simply overpowered. While this doesn't detract too much from the single-player campaign, it becomes painfully obvious in the game's cooperative and multiplayer modes, which place a much greater emphasis on action rather than storytelling. Co-op uses its own storyline filled with super linear missions that simply have you run through chapters featuring the same objectives with slightly different cosmetics. Kill some guys, protect a thing, one person carries a thing while another person covers him, do a minigame, shoot more guys, chapter over. While it has its own little plot that can be a bit amusing, the lack of free roam and reliance on pure action leaves players with an almost bored feeling compared to what happens in the story. As for the multiplayer, I wouldn't call it terrible as much as I would say it's simply uninteresting. It does very little to set itself apart from other modern-day shooting games, and at times almost feels like I'm playing a version of Call of Duty focused on just a jungle setting, kill streaks included. The game does try to add a few things that end up being more awkward than revolutionary, like a shout system that buffs only allies with something of your choice, and rewards you with XP even though all you have to do is hit a button every minute or so. One little tidbit I did like was that how player deaths are viewed, as instead of having a kill cam, the scene in which you died is freeze-framed and outlined, showing you the exact trajectory and situation that led to your demise, with the hopeful chance of a nearby ally being able to revive you, unless of course an enemy simply waits for that to happen and shoot both of you for bonus points, which happens very often. It's not a terrible multiplayer experience, and certainly an alternative to many other options out there today. It's just that it fails to do anything to make itself feel unique or interesting when compared to other competitors out there. Overall, Far Cry 3 sports an impressive single-player experience, thanks to a combination of excellent use of free roam mechanics, and a storyline with a protagonist that actually goes through character development, making it one of my favorite games of the year, only to have it brought down just a little bit due to multiplayer options that feel sadly tacked on and uninspired compared to what the storyline achieves. That's our review of Far Cry 3. If you want to grab it for yourself or as a gift for someone else, check out the link in the description for pricing and availability. And speaking of gifts, if you haven't had a chance to check out our holiday gift guides, make sure to check them out right here at this link. As always guys, thanks for checking out our videos, and if you found this one helpful, make sure to like it as it is always appreciated and is a great way to help out the channel. If you have yet to subscribe, make sure to do so to stay up to date on all of our latest reviews, and if you want to hear my up-to-date thoughts on games I'm playing, or whatever just randomly pops in my head, make sure to follow me on Twitter at TLD_Kevin, and I'll see you guys next time.